Hello everyone, this is Stephen. I'm here to do an informative presentation on how to use fire extinguishers. Here is my 5 people. So tonight we're going to talk about fire extinguishers and how to use these. There's several different classes of fire extinguishers, A, B, C, D, and K. We're going to talk about each one of these and the types and the sizes and how to use these. I'm holding in my hand what's called a combination fire extinguisher. By that it means it can put out several different fires. But first let's go through what each classification of fire is. When we talk about fires, there's classifications. Class A is wood, paper, ordinary combustibles. Things that would normally burn. Class B would be fuel fire, such as grease on your stove, gasoline, motor oil, transmission fluid, things like that. Class C is electrical fires, things such as AC, DC current. We'll find AC in our house, DC in our vehicles. So anything involving electrical equipment is going to be considered electrical fire. Then Class D is metal fires, things like potassium, magnesium. These metals would burn, and they have special properties needed to extinguish these. And then there is a Class K fire. Class K is a little different. Class K is used in kitchens, and the reason being it's called Class K, my assumption is because the chemical that is used in these is called Purple K. In the deep fryers that you have in commercial kitchens, years ago when they transferred from using vegetable oil or animal fats over to vegetable oil, that vegetable oil, the flash point is much lower, so it's more readable to reignite. So they swap to a different chemical. And when you're choosing a fire extinguisher, what you need to do is you need to make sure that the type of extinguisher that you have is going to be used on the appropriate fire type that you have. So if you have a waste paper can and it's got paper and stuff, we want to look down here, and if you'll look down here, there's several different type of ways to classify this. This one has a pictogram on it, and you'll see right here, this pictogram has a trash paper can and like a wood fire. B has a gas can with a liquid fire, and right here this is C. It's got a receptacle plug with some fire behind it. When you see this, this tells me that I could use this fire extinguisher on Class A, B, or C fires. They do make fire extinguishers that are strictly Class A fires. They're normally yellow in color, silver in color, and they're filled with water. And they're strictly for Class A only, wood, paper, ordinary combustibles. They do make a Class BC combination, which is good for fuel fire, liquid ignitables, and grease, plus electricity. The most common type that you're going to see is like this, a combination A, B, and C. What's in this fire extinguisher? This is a dry chemical fire extinguisher. That means that the contents within this fire extinguisher is dry chemical. There is also a dry powder. Why the difference? Why a dry chemical and a dry powder? Well, when we say dry powder has no moisture content in it whatsoever. While dry chemical, on the other hand, does have some moisture content. Where this plays a big part is in Class D fires involving metals. A lot of those type fires, if there's any moisture whatsoever introduced into it, it's going to react. So we need to make sure that we have the right fire extinguisher for the right fire. So how do we use these? Well, we need to first make sure that our hose is clear, it's not clogged up in the end, that our pin is in place and secured. We need to make sure here with our gauge that our little yellow indicator is right in the green. If you find a fire extinguisher and this little yellow indicator is down in the red, you need to take it out of service and don't use it to fight the fire because it's been discharged before. There's an acronym that you can remember. It's called PASS. P-A-S-S. And this is how we can remember how to operate this fire extinguisher. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to check our nozzle, make sure our pin's in place, look at our gauge, and we're going to pull the pin. And when we pull the pin, it's easy if you'll just turn, pull the pin out, discard it. A is to aim the nozzle, squeeze these two handles together, and then sweep the fire. Always start a good bit away, pull the pin, aim, squeeze, and sweep as you approach. One thing you don't want to do is turn your back on the fire. Always back out. If it reignites, you can hit it again. Once you do that, go ahead and empty the total contents. Remember, we're going to start from a distance on fighting the fire. All the way back here, squeeze as we approach, sweeping, hitting the base of the fire until it goes out. Or unless you discharge this fully. Once you've done that, you back out, keeping your eyes on the fire, and call the fire department. How do I know when to use this and when not? My rule of thumb is, if the fire is larger than a trash can, call the fire department. Call the fire department. If it's anything larger than your trash can at home, call the fire department. Can I refill these? Is a common question that we get. Yes, if you have one with a metal head like this, they can be refilled, although it may be just as cheap to replace them. That'll be something you'll have to check. Also, these have to be hydrostatic tested about every 10 years. If you've got one at home that's 10 years of age, chunk it. Get rid of it, replace it. Just get you a brand new one. If it's got a plastic head on it like this, it can't be refilled. You're going to have to go ahead and chunk that and then buy you a new one. Anybody got any questions?
Yeah, if it's still in the green and it's 12 years old, you just throw it away.
It would probably still work. Our guidelines say chunk it, but if it's still in the green, it would probably still work. Like this one is still in the green. They tell us to replace them at 10 years.
Oh, gosh.
And if you ever want to know, there's a date usually stamped on these right here. Like this one says 1993. This is one of the ones that we pulled out of service here at the church. And I just got it out. So that's the reason why we replaced them, is because they were well over 10 years of age.
Did you try any of them? Was that old see if they could still work?
I haven't, but we'll do that. We'll go outside and do that here in just a minute. And here's the other thing about dry chemical fire extinguishers. If you've got asthma, anything like that, they are a bad respiratory irritant. And it flies everywhere. So just be aware of that. If you let it go inside the house, it's going to make it hard on you to breathe.
I tell you something else. It makes it hard to clean the stove because it gets in everything.
It gets in everything.
In the stove, it gets in the clock, it gets in the gauges, it gets in everything.
It does that. Car engine too.
I ain't put one on mine, but I put one on electric stove.
Anybody else?
It'll put the fire out, though.
Let's do that. Thank you.